Very good.
I threw that on the floor. Why don't you take your pin out? They'll think you're, or put it lower or
Yeah.
something.
Well, here we are, folks, talking to Auntie Annette and Esther Hunt and Annette Asch, and we're going to talk a little bit about our family heritage and history, and this will be an official record of where we come from, because a lot of people ask me. They say, "Where are you from?" And I don't always know. You know, I say, well, half of my family is from Lithuania, and some are from Russia, and where are we from?
Lithuania mostly.
And was the name always, well, Morris was Ash. What was your maiden name?
Berman.
Berman.
I was Annette Berman, and then when I became Mrs. Ash, I was ABA.
ABA.
Annette Berman Ash. And we have a beautiful family. I just have a letter from someone that I can't recall, and she says, "Thank you very much for putting me wise to the whole Ash family." Oh, sure, it was Alex's girlfriend that was here from Cincinnati. And she was just a darling girl, but she thanked me for putting her wise to the whole Ash family.
Now, were you born in the States, or were you born overseas?
I was born in Lithuania, and the name of the town that I was born in was Anykšt.
Anykšt.
And it was Kovna Gubernia. Gubernia is the state. We were from the state of Kovna. I came here when I was 12 years old.
Do you remember coming over?
Oh yes, I remember the boat that we came on was called America. It was a real cute name. And I was just a youngster. I was 12 years old and found a lot of playmates on the boat. And I think that it took us about 10 days to get over.
Did you get sick on the boat? Any seasickness?
I was sick the first few days, and after that I had a ball. Just lovely.
Did you stop at Ellis Island?
Yes, we stopped at Ellis Island, and we were told to go to one particular room, and as we were walking, I could feel someone putting something on my back, and they had a chalk mark on my back. I don't know yet what that chalk mark meant. But my mother and I went into that other room, and then after a few hours, they showed us to get on a train, and we came in from Ellis Island to Cleveland. When we got to Cleveland, the whole family came to the train to meet us, and that was in 1909. A goodly some years.
Sure. And who all was here, or who was waiting for you in Cleveland? What?
Who was waiting?
Oh, my sisters and my brothers, the whole family was in Cleveland already. Mother and I were the last ones to come from Europe. So they all came to the train to meet us. And the first thing that I was admiring when we got to the house was a bowl of the purple grapes. And I just looked at it and couldn't get over the beauty of the bowl of purple grapes. I'll never forget it. That was in 1909.
Didn't anybody meet you in New York? How did you know what train to get on? How did you know how to get
I
there?
guess there were some social service workers that directed us where to go and what to do, because I wouldn't have known.
Well, sure, that's why you didn't talk English. Or did you talk any English?
Oh, no, we didn't talk English.
Mhm.
I think everybody else talked Yiddish.
Everyone on the ship. Tell all the names of your sisters and brothers, because Tommy wouldn't know any of them.
Well, my very oldest brother, his name was Yudel, and he remained in Europe because he was a man of the clergy, and he had such a good position, and he thought no place was as good as home. And he was in Vilna. He had a wife and 2 children. The children's names were after my father, Sholem, and the daughter's name was Sonia. I think that they were both named after the same one, but the girl was born before, so they named her Sonia. And after they had a boy, they named him Shalom. What more would you like to know?
Well, then tell about all the ones in Cleveland.
Well,
About
we
Tante
got to
Libby
Cleveland.
and everybody.
That's right. There was my oldest sister Dora, and second oldest was Libby, and third oldest was Mary. So there were the three women in the family.
Excuse me, Mary was your great-grandmother. Mary was Leona's mother,
Yeah.
and Leona was your grandmother. So Mary was your great-grandmother, and she was already in Cleveland. Now, I've
Yeah.
been rude, but I
No, not at
wanted
all.
Tommy to
Sure,
know.
sure. This
that.
is very interesting.
You mean all this is going to be recorded?
Sure.
Yeah, he's,
Oi, Ray.
Oy vey.
Oh, I thought I was just talking to you too.
No, he's taking your picture too.
Oh my God.
That's
What-
all right. If they can withstand that, they're real members of the family.
Oi, what a picture.
So these were all your grandmother's aunts and uncles whose names she
Yeah, there
mentioned.
was Libby and Mary and Dora. And then there was Morris. He lived in Cleveland, but I had two other brothers. One name was Harry, and Harry is Esther's father.
Yeah.
And that's how Esther is my niece.
And that's how he was working in Cincinnati. And he took the name of Hunt instead of Berman because they told him he would get a better job if he had a name that didn't sound Russian or Jewish. And he came before because he was because my mother and father were married before 1905 because I have their wedding license. So he was here right about the turn of the century. And then Uncle Morris Berman was another of the men. But it is a feminist family.
That's right, we have a lot of girls in our family,
Yeah,
and we love them all.
sure.
Well,
Sure.
Tommy loves girls,
However,
too.
we love the boys too. Tommy, we love you dearly, and your Buster is adorable. We love him too.
Hey, do me a favor. Tell me, last time I was here, you told me a story about Buster the dog.
Oh,
Busterkins.
Buster Kid.
Buster,
Yeah. He wants to know whose dog it was and
about the story about finding the wallet, telling the dog to go out and.
Oh, well, I had a Tante Rosie who is since gone, and she had a dog, and his name was Buster. And she went out shopping, and somehow or other, I think she put her purse in the little wagon that she was going to collect all her groceries. And on the road from the house to the store, she lost her purse. And when she discovered it, she did say, "Oi, Busterke, hab verloren mein Purse. Leifing gefunden Purse." Well, Buster turned around. Buster was the dog. He turned around and he ran all the way back to where they started from. And lo and behold, he brought the purse in his mouth and put it back in the wagon. And so all the lost was found. Where did you get that story about Buster?
you told him last time he was here.
Oh,
But that's
is
very
that
funny.
how you remember?
Sure.
And that's so when Leon, or not Leon, I always skip generations. When Adri called to say that you had a baby boy, and I said, "What are they naming him?" And she said, "Buster." And I said, "Buster, that's Tante Rosie's dog. How can they name their child?" I said, "Does he look like Buster Cat?" Because Buster Cat was a little terrier,
Yeah.
a little bull terrier, with kind of a funny looking face. Although she had another dog named Trixie, and Trixie had protruding teeth. And your grandmother, or your mother, Adri, we used to say to her when she was a baby, "Make a Trixie face," and she'd stick her teeth out. That was her greatest accomplishment, your mother.
My mother was not pleased when I was going to name Buster. And I was going to name him Buster after Buster Keaton,
That's what we figured,
the
sure.
famous film comedian. And do you know who named Buster Keaton? The very famous magician Harry
Houdini. Oh.
So it was a,
Yeah.
kind of a...
Yeah.
Being a magician, that's right.
That's right.
Come by it honestly.
No, but that was so funny because all we can think of, anytime you say Buster, we all see
Aunt
Aunt
Rosie.
Rosie. And she used to talk Jewish to him. And surprisingly, he understood Jewish
Oh,
very
She said,
well.
Leif, you find the pocketbook, Buster? And Buster got him and he found the pocketbook.
Did he bark in Jewish?
Yiddish, yeah. Oi, oi, oi.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and then they all lived around Cleveland. My father and our family moved back too. So really, except for your brother that remained in Europe,
That's right.
the whole family was based in Cleveland and around. So it was a very close-knit
Then
family.
we migrated to Lorain. I married Morris, who lived in Lorain, and so after I got to Lorain, you folks came to Lorain, and was a happy family. And the family from Cleveland used to love to come to Lorain because it was a country town, and they loved to come to the country. We lived it up good.
And when did you get the place on the island? Was that much? I guess that was much later.
Much later.
Well, that's another story. Some friends of our daddy's was in real estate, and he came to Morris and he said, Morris, I have a good proposition for you. There's some land, and it's called Kelly's Island, and it's for sale, and I think you ought to buy some. So Morris and his friend Dave Gary went out and looked at it, and they bought a couple of lots. And Morris liked it so well that he built a lovely cottage. I call it a cottage, but it was really a beautiful home. 3 bedrooms and 3 baths and a large living room and a nice built-in porch and apple trees around and right on Lake Erie. And Lake Erie is right across the street. Beautiful. And my grandson, who was about 6 years old or 7, had to write a story how they spent the summer. And Alex's story was, we went to my grandmother's in the country, and I walked up a big hill, and I came to the water, and we picked some shells, and the next day we went home. And that was Alex's story, how he spent the summer.
Right. Well, I never cared for the island as a place. I think it's silly because we live in the country anyway. But I was impressed by the great wealth of my relatives. They had running water that they piped across from the lake, and they had to run the pipes on the top of the ground. So in the summertime, when it was extremely warm, the water that came through the pipes was hot. And I said, I have relatives so wealthy that they flush their toilets with hot water.
That's a good example.
That was my one thing that I liked about Kelly's Island. But everybody else in the family loves it. And they love to go there. Have you been?
Many times.
I thought you.
Many times as a child. I haven't been back in years, but I have very, very fond memories of visiting with my parents and the whole family. And
Yeah, they had a couple family reunions.
sure.
Tell me, was it you that you and I used to sit on the back porch and sing?
I think it might have been me and my brother. Sure. Yeah.
The people that had a cottage next to us had some people there. We'd sing one song sitting on our back porch, and they'd sing another one from
They answered.
their own cottage. We had a lot of fun then.
And Fernie and Bill have a bed and breakfast now, is that right?
Yeah,
Cool.
and they have their own house too.
Right.
So there. And then another cousin built a cottage out there too, Phyllis and George, but Phyllis has since passed away. So there are quite a few of them there.